Yep. Mariners lose 4-2. They fall to 52-48 on the season. And they have lost the first two of the 3-game series against the Houston Astros. Fourth inning, Jeremy Pena reaches on an infield single to third to score Alex Bregman. Sixth inning, Julio Rodriguez homers to left to score Victor Robles to give the Mariners a 2-1 lead. Jake Myers homers off Ryan Stanek in the seventh to make it 3-2 because there was a runner on base. And Yanier Diaz homers to left off of, I believe, Trent Thornton. 4-2 Mariners. I'm going to finish that whole thing, I think. You ever wish you didn't care about something? Be it a sporting team, a sports team, a family member who, a friend, a significant other, a former significant other, most likely. You ever wish you didn't care? I feel like that about the Seattle Mariners quite a bit. There was a time where my fanhood for the Seattle Mariners had been completely sucked out. It was, I'd moved to Virginia to be with my family, and I was starting to write more about the sport and going to school, and it wasn't the happiest time of my life, but it wasn't the worst. And then I got sucked back in. And moments like these last 2 days make me wonder why. You're curious what I'm drinking. Ooh, that is tart. It's a citrus vacation. It's tart, but it's good. Ooh, look at that face. No, it's good, I promise. That face has more to do with the Mariners. Okay, let's talk about the positives. George Kirby shoved. George Kirby was absolutely outstanding today. 6 innings, 6 strikeouts, gives up the 4 hits, the 1 run on a little chopper on a pretty close play at first base. But outside of that inning, really, George Kirby was phenomenal. He's been really, really, really good since the middle of May. George Kirby was fantastic tonight and deserved better. Austin Vox pitched well in a very not low leverage situation, but down by 2 in the top of the 9th. But it's nice to see some success for him because the last few appearances didn't go very well. On the offensive side, I do think Victor Robles played a really nice game. He's just looked great. Maybe great's a little too strong, but I've been really impressed with what I've seen from Victor Robles. And then Julio, the massive 2-run homer, and then he, of course, gets robbed by Trey Cabbage for the second homer. For those of you who have a big issue with Cabbage doing the okay, I think it's cool that there's a rivalry here. I know Trey Cabbage isn't a good enough player really to worry about. I hope there's no balls thrown at. That's just not me. I'm a softie. But it was great to see Julio drive the ball. He's been phenomenal in July. Phenomenal. Simply Seattle provides the very best in Seattle sports gear. Use code MOLLYWOP15 to save 15% off your order. MOLLYWHOP15. www.simplyseattle.com. And that code again, MOLLYWHOP15. Link in the description. In between Kirby and Vos, the bullpen was awful. Ryan Stanek was bad. Trent Thornton wasn't good enough. Gives up the solo homer that pretty much, with how this offense plays, takes this team out of the game. You know, you get that 2-1 lead, and Stanek comes in and he walks a hitter that very rarely walks. And the pitch to Jake Myers wasn't horrific, but the results are what they are. And Ryan Stanek hasn't been good enough. He had a very nice little run there for a second. Nah, he can't be a high leverage guy for this team. He can't be. And Trent Thornton, you know, he does get the 3 strikeouts. That's nice. He also gives up a run in an inning and a third. Not good enough. This offense sucks. I mean, how else can you put it? Two runs in your 2 games after the break. JP Crawford has been awful. And I realize he has a smaller sample than some other guys because of an injury. This dude is hitting at the top of your lineup and is hitting 203, 297, 348. Oh, man. I got a burp, excuse me. I apologize for even telling you that I have to. Should be good to go now. Raleigh wasn't good enough. Garver wasn't good enough. Polanco wasn't good. Polanco does get on base twice. And, you know, hit one ball relatively hard. Garver wasn't good enough. Jonathan Clase, to get picked off in that situation is just inexcusable. It's the one thing you do well enough at the MLB level. Haniger draws the walk. He comes in and just absolutely gets smoked. Can't happen. Cannot happen. But it did. So obviously it can happen. It cannot happen if you expect to beat teams. Ty France. I don't take any pleasure in this, but wow. If they do not upgrade at first base, I'm going to throw a fit. Flat out cannot be your starting first baseman. Can be a quality bench bat for you. Cannot be your starting first baseman. And then Luke Raley. You know, I like the decision to pinch hit Luke Raley for Ty France. But watching that dude hit against Josh Hader in particular, 3 hits tonight. Another 11 strikeouts. 6 walks is good. 6 walks doesn't really mean that much when you're this bad. I thought this series was huge. I didn't think it was going to define their season, but I thought, silly me, I thought, hey, man, after as bad as you played to end the first half, and they played atrocious to end the first half, what if you come out and you take the first 2 games of this series and you got a chance for a sweep on Sunday with Luis Castillo and George Kirby on the mound? And let's make it abundantly clear, both those guys pitched well enough to win. Both of them pitched more than well enough to win. Should have came home with W's, but they play behind an inept offensive lineup. Dylan Moore was bad tonight. Mitch Haniger was bad outside of the walk, and a walk's just not good enough. All I can do is shake my head. And, a lot of you are probably, and you can do whatever you want. I appreciate you watching the video. I appreciate you hitting like. I appreciate you subscribing. I appreciate all the support. But I know a lot of you are going to come in and say the season is over, and I'm going to disagree with you because it's not. They've played exactly 100 games. There's 62 games left, and they are 1 game behind the Astros. It's kind of a virtual tie. Number 1, they have the tiebreaker, and number 2, the Astros have 2 more games to be played. So game and a half if you assume they split, 2 games if they win, whatever. Season ain't over. But it's going to come to a quick end if they don't get massive improvements offensively. And yes, some of that has to be internally. Yes, Mitch Garver and Jorge Polanco and a bunch of other players. JP Crawford needs to be mentioned in that a lot more than he has been. A bunch of these guys have to be significantly better offensively. But you also have to get, and I talked about this on the radio with Justin Hollander on Wednesday, and he mentioned it himself, that on top of the internal production that they have received, they have to go externally. They have to upgrade this baseball team. And if they don't, it will be another year, 23 out of 24 seasons, that you do not make the postseason. Or 22 out of 23 and 22 out of 24. I wish I didn't care. It'd be so easy to not care. It'd be so easy to just let this roll off, and I can just be a professional journalist, I guess is what you'd call it, and say, oh, well. But I can't, because I care. And I want this team to do well. I need this team to do well. My grandma needs this team to do well. This city needs the team to do well. There's some people who think that we get a real kick out of doing Wally Wop Monday and talking about how bad this team is. And I have no doubt that the ratings are better and that more people tune in. Certainly more interesting to listen to them after a sweep than after listening to them go in 1 of 2 or play 500 or whatever. I get no joy out of it. I get 0 joy out of it. But I'm getting 0 joy out of this baseball team right now. Please hit like. Please hit subscribe. Follow me on those websites. I mean, I don't know.